right now on Chronicle.
This is where the early planning is taking place for our so-called Disney World project.
It was the project that had all of Central Florida buzzing, and 5 decades later continues to captivate.
Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and the life of Walter Elias Disney.
From one man's dream to making the dreams of millions come true. As the theme park celebrates its golden anniversary, we're taking a look back at all it took to create this kingdom.
Walt Disney once said that our parks would never be complete as long as there was imagination left in the world.
And how Walt's vision has kept evolving through the years.
So we're here on Main Street.
Yes.
How different does it look today versus on opening day?
Plus, you'll meet some of the very special people who've been along for this incredible journey since the beginning.
I have no way to even fathom that it's been 50 years. It certainly doesn't feel like 50 to me.
WESH 2 Chronicle, 50 Years of Magic.
There's no place like this on earth.
Hello, I'm Jim Payne. Welcome to Chronicle, 50 Years of Magic, and the place where dreams come true. For 50 years now, families have flocked to Central Florida to see a man about a mouse, catch a glimpse of a princess, and bask in the magic that has become synonymous with this kingdom. As the golden anniversary of Walt Disney World is celebrated in so many incredible ways, we're taking the next hour to do a little looking back. From throwback footage of the 1970s to the history made here over the decades. Just like Walt Disney World, we have something for everyone. Stop for a second and just listen. Sounds of the crowds mixed with music of a hometown parade. Whatever year it was when you first walked through those unmistakable front gates, the experience is designed to be as much magical as it is familiar. Main Street, USA. But how did all this wind up here, on a patch of land that was a mix of swamp, cow pasture, and orange grove? It's true that in some sense, the stars had to align for Central Florida to end up the home of Walt Disney's greatest achievement. But what many people don't realize is that long before movies and Mickey Mouse, Florida had a special hold on Walt Disney's heart. Along a lonely stretch of Central Florida Highway in the Ocala National Forest, tucked in the back of the old Ponciana Cemetery, are Walt Disney's roots in Central Florida. This 1880s grave marker for Charles and Henrietta Call marks the resting place of Walt Disney's grandparents.
Those Disney roots go very deep, and that's something that certainly helped inform his life story.
Welcome to a little bit of Florida here in California. This is where the early planning is taking place for our so-called Disney World project.
By the time this recording was released in 1966, nearly all of the groundwork for Walt Disney World had been laid.
When a mystery industry appeared on the Central Florida horizon.
For years leading up to this point, the Walt Disney Corporation had secretly been acquiring land, a lot of it, in Central Florida.
It was a confluence of a lot of land at the right price, with the right people and the right kind of producer behind it that ultimately leads to everything that we get today.
They used aliases and code names, shell and dummy corporations like Project Winter, Project X, Project Future. Top secret meetings, absolute controls on information, even former spies. If word leaked that Walt Disney was buying up huge tracts, prices would shoot sky high, dooming the project. 18 months of secrecy to buy up 27,400 acres of mostly swampland, more than half the size of Washington, D.C. On October 24, 1965, the Orlando Sentinel broke the news that Walt Disney was the mystery land buyer in Orange and Osceola counties. Your dad opens up the newspaper and it says,
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And then he said, my God, that's what's been going on. That's what's been going on with these people that have been hiding their names and trying to figure out who we're selling this land to.
Mary Dimitri's family sold the biggest parcel to Walt Disney, 12,500 acres that became Magic Kingdom and half of Epcot. Mary's father, Bill, willingly signed the land deal, happy to be rid of the mortgage payments, pocketing a modest profit.
It was a Sunday morning, and he started explaining to me what had been happening with this land that he was selling and did not know who the buyers were.
Everyone anxiously anticipated the announcement of plans for the new Disney complex in Florida.
3 weeks later, at a news conference at the Winter Park Theater featuring Governor Hayden Burns, Walt and Roy Disney confirmed the scope of the project, Disney's involvement, but very little else.
The sketches and plans you will see today are simply a starting point, our first overall thinking about Disney World. Everything in this room may change time and time again as we move ahead. But the basic philosophy of what we're planning for Disney World is going to remain very much as it is right now.
The land then needed to be transformed. 10 million cubic yards of landscape was moved. Workers dredged 50 miles of canals, making nearly 20,000 of 24,000 acres workable. Bay Lake, now Seven Seas Lagoon, was drained. The sand at the bottom was spread along the shores to make beaches, the dirt and muck trucked to be foundation for Cinderella Castle and the Magic Kingdom, concealing an elaborate tunnel system moving people and goods, elevating the elegant attractions. At construction's peak in 1970, then Vacation Kingdom was the largest project in the United States with over 8,000 workers on site.
It's truly a remarkable feat of engineering that they were able to accomplish, and that all stems from the reuse and the reclamation of a lot of that land.
Walt Disney World has its own government, rules about zoning, water conservation and flood control, emergency services, exemption from most county and state authority.
Between the cities of Orlando and Kissimmee.
But most critical to its success, location. Back then, in the middle of nowhere.
It changed everything, and we were in the right place at the right time. And it's been a fun 50 years having Disney right here in our backyard.
We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
On October 27, 1966, Walt Disney produced this video in one day. 1 week later, he goes into the hospital. On December 15, 1966, Walt Disney dies at age 65.
Walt Disney never lived long enough to see Walt Disney World completed. Did he say much nearing the end of his life about that, or about the legacy of his life's work?
And something that he was proud of is that the people that he had trained, the cast members that he had brought in, were all, in lockstep in working forward toward that same goal. And I think the Walt Disney World project specifically, right, has his name on it. It says Walt Disney World. That was a choice by his brother, Roy O. Disney, who knew that this idea, this concept, was something that was unique to him, that was unique to Walt, and the way that it was executed, nobody else could have done. So who else's name was going to be more fit to be on that front gate than Walt's?
May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place. A magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh and play and learn together.
Everybody knows about the Dumbo ride. How is it different today versus when the park first opened?
From Dumbo to Cinderella's Castle, how much has changed and what stayed the same in the last 5 decades? Tag along on our VIP trip around the Magic Kingdom to get the scoop. And later, what it was like to be there on opening day.
All you can see is the castle, and you just keep focusing on that so that you don't mess up, because you know the cameras are on, people are taking pictures, and you don't want to screw up.
How Disney put locals front and center at the park's premiere when 50 years of magic returns. Did you know the famed suite in Cinderella Castle at Disney World was originally built to be an apartment for Walt Disney? But with Walt passing away before Disney opened, the space became an afterthought, used for storage or out-of-the-way office space. Then in 2006, Disney unveiled Cinderella's Suite with a night stay given away at random to park guests or kept as an exclusive stay for VIPs. And it's remained that way to this day.
Welcome back to 50 Years of Magic. As much as Walt Disney wanted every trip back to feel like a homecoming for guests, he also wanted Disney World's innovation to be endless and epic. It's a delicate balance to maintain the nostalgia and be cutting edge. So we set out to see what's changed and what stayed the same from 1971 to now. Marley Martinez found out it's really hard to tell.
Inside and you have a good time today.
We wanted to ensure that our guests come into the parks and still feel that magic that they felt on their very first day that they visited.
Since opening day, Walt Disney World's mission is to make every visit feel like a walk down memory lane. But let's face it, a lot has changed in the world since 1971. So how do you maintain the magic and embrace the modern?
So right here where we are, we call this area Center Street.
I found out with a private tour of Disney's most iconic spots.
So we're here on Main Street.
Yes.
How different does it look today versus on opening day?
Rayvon Redding is one of Disney World's ambassadors, park employees who can point out the hidden gems around Disney, including the big and small modifications made since 1971. The first change we encountered happened so early on in Disney's existence, you might not realize it is a change.
Just right here at the confectionery, at the very top, you'll see Roy O. Disney's window.
The windows that line Main Street are etched with names, a nod to the key people who helped Walt's dream become reality. But originally, Roy's name wasn't slated for such prominent placement.
Our Imagineers decided to give him one of the first windows that our guests will see as soon as they come in, and really to pay homage to all of the wonderful works that he's done for his brother. It's subtle, but it's still right in the front.
Now, it wasn't just the storefronts, but the thoroughfare itself went through quite the renovation.
We have another big change here on Main Street.
Right?
As you can see from this vintage footage from 1971, Main Street had a couple of side streets where families were met with street performers and barbershop quartets. Today, one of those side streets is gone.
So actually, this street used to have a duplicate right behind us over here. So we call this Center Street, right in the center of Main Street, USA. And now, where we have our Emporium, it's connected.
The reason? Traffic control of the larger crowds.
So we took away the street and just made it a bit more efficient for our guests to flow from the end of Main Street all the way to the exit of the park.
Just a short flight away from Main Street, you reach a Disney classic. And the Little Elephant went through a big change too that you may not know about.
What you see today in Dumbo.
Melissa Valaket, who has the dream job of running the Magic Kingdom, filled me in on what's different with Dumbo.
When we opened in 1971, Dumbo was just one singular ride, but it was so demanded, so popular among children and young at heart adults that we just knew we had to increase the capacity. And so what you see today in Dumbo is a double Dumbo.
With the ride really taking off, Disney had to find a way to accommodate the growing lines. And in 2012, this real-life Big Top was added, where little ones can play while waiting before boarding their favorite flying friend.
So you're entertained the whole time until it's your time to ride.
How you ride the rides and even enter the park has drastically changed since 1971. Today, you buy a park pass that's embedded in a wristband or even on your smartphone. But when Disney first came to town, entry into the Magic Kingdom was fair style.
You would purchase a ticket book.
Like this one we found at the Orange County Regional History Center. From the teacups to the carousel, you had to buy a ticket for each individual ride. It was like that until 1982. On opening day, an entire ticket book cost just $4.50. Today, depending on the type of pass, you're paying well over $100. And before Fast Passes or the new Genie Plus, those ticket books had tiers too.
The e-tickets were the kind of highest level. This is where you're going to get your actual roller coaster rides. like Space Mountain and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And then D-level adventures and C and B and A.
Disney worked its magic, making changes to its storybook land throughout the years. It also made some tweaks behind the scenes.
We are in the Walt Disney World costuming space.
Disney's costume design manager, Michael Sendek, took me inside their shop. This is an operation that would make fairy godmother's jaw drop.
It is here that the various teams are creating all of the magic for all of our cast members that work in the parks. One thing that has changed over time is the exact fabric we've utilized to create these garments.
So it looks the same, but feels different.
Absolutely. This is very much true to the original design intent from 1971, but the fabrication is updated for today, as well as the fit of some of our garments to accommodate all of our cast members as best as possible.
Something very 2021, Disney is now using recycled material as fabric. Costumes are lighter, airier, and easier to move in, given those hot and humid Florida days.
This cast member, for example, is walking all over the Magic Kingdom, so we want to provide the best amount of movement for the garments as well.
Most enchanting of all is Cinderella's castle.
And saving the best for last, no trip to the Magic Kingdom is complete without taking in Disney's most iconic landmark.
The symbol of Walt Disney World.
When Disney World first opened its gates, the castle's grays and blues blended with a backdrop of sunny, clear skies. And just in time for the 50th, Cinderella's castle has gone through quite the royal glow-up. Today, it's undergone a massive makeover. Splashes of pink, spires wrapped in royal blue, and shimmering gold ribbons and flags to top it all off. A castle fit for a princess.
I mean, you see a lot of the jewels, you see the pearls, and then I think the greatest highlight is that iridescent color that will be synonymous with the 50th anniversary celebration that you see in the 50 logo there.
The castle has had many looks over the years, and that would have made Walt proud. He once said, the parks would never be complete as long as there was imagination left in the world. And in this world, it's clear there's no shortage of magic.
Still ahead, living the Disney life for 50 years. We'll introduce you to cast members who've dedicated their careers to making the magic happen at Disney World, including some moments none of us can forget.
You know, there's so many exciting things that have happened to Walt Disney World over the years. It's kind of hard to pick one.
So we picked 5, the biggest pop culture moments that have happened at the most magical place on Earth, when 50 years of magic continues.
There is no denying the vision and foresight of Walt Disney is what made all that falls under the Disney umbrella possible. But without its people, Disney would be just another theme park. It's the cast members who bring every aspect of this world to life. It's a place so special, there are employees who have been here since the gates opened in 1971, 5 decades ago. Jason Guy talked with a few of these golden guys and gals about what's kept them here for 50 years.
As Walt said from the very beginning, you know, you can create the most amazing place, and we've certainly done that. But at the end of the day, it's the 70,000 cast members who bring it to life every day.
And for 50 years, thousands of men and women have been bringing Walt's dream to life.
Whatever needs to be done, that's what we do. We roll up our sleeves and we get going.
I had the opportunity to talk with a handful of Disney's most rare cast members, those who've earned their 50-year pin. They work in all areas of the parks, from selling souvenirs, maintaining the rides, creating live entertainment, or interacting with guests. One even running the parks. These are some of Disney World's original cast members.
Hey, it's 50 years, and I'm still here. Why am I still here? I love it just that much.
They have similar stories. Not imagining at the start they would have stayed for so long. Pam now works booking private events, but she's held many jobs over the years.
Of course, never intended to stay 50 years, I can say that up front. I had promised my dad I would only work 6 weeks for Christmas money. And he said, okay, 6 weeks, you're out. And it took me a week to talk him into it, and I already had signed up for orientation the following day. And my mom said, if you ever come home tired, or you ever come home aggravated, that will be your last day, because he doesn't want you to work right now anyways. So 50 years later, I never came home tired, and I never was aggravated.
One of the remarkable cast member stories I encountered, George Kalogridis. He took a server job in 1971 at the Contemporary Resort to pay for college. A few years later, as he was finishing up at UCF with a degree in sociology and moving up with Disney, he began to realize he was part of something big.
It was in 1976, and I was an assistant supervisor on Main Street, and it was during Christmas, and I had the opening shift. And I walked across Main Street right over there between Coke Corner and the ice cream shop. And I was the only one on Main Street. And all the Christmas decorations were on Main Street, and the Christmas music was playing. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. You know, how could I be part of this, number one, and think of what has been created here in the middle of this swamp.
In his 50 years with the company, George moved up that ladder, landing the top rung as the president of Disney World from 2013 to 2019. Now he is a global ambassador for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary. Kalogridis was on hand at Cinderella Castle to dedicate statues of Minnie and Mickey Mouse to honor past, present, and future cast members. The 50th celebration for cast members might be more of a reunion.
They become your family.
But what is it about Disney that keeps people around for so long?
There is nowhere that you work at Walt Disney World that's not very busy, whether you're a guest-facing role or in a support role. So it's not about working hard. It's really about knowing that at the end of whatever it is you're doing, there's a smile. There's something special happening for a guest, and you were part of that, no matter what your role is. And that's magic. And that, I'm not saying it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, but it exists in abundance here. And that's why people love working here.
Cast members tell me they appreciate the opportunities given to them for career advancement.
If you get to the point in any job where you're like, why? Then you can look at a different field.
Kathy has worked in hotel reservations, helped open resorts, sold educational programs, and more, all in order to find the job she most enjoyed.
If you're not happy where you are, there's literally a whole world that you can choose from.
Because there's so many opportunities for growth, I just encourage young people who are excited about doing something great with their lives, come to Disney. And now that I'm grown,
Forrest would know he's moved through the entertainment side of things to oversee countless park-based programs and even the spectacular candlelight procession. Whatever their role, all of these golden cast members cherish keepsakes they've collected through their careers.
I just love Disney.
Reminders of their hard work sprinkled with pixie dust.
Pixie dust is the word we've used for years.
What does that actually mean to those cast members?
Is that you still are excited about Disney and everything Disney has to offer and everything that they represent. And so that, you know, you still want to sprinkle pixie dust and make everybody's day feel fabulous.
They'll even do it when they're off the clock.
Once in a while, you know, when I would go out on the parks on a free day, day off, sometimes I would pick a nice older couple out of the line and get them in for free. And so they were really appreciative of that.
It's almost contagious how these cast members all speak of their magical 50-year careers at Disney World.
The growth is beyond anything that we hoped for, but it's even better, and it just keeps growing.
And they believe the next 50 years will be as magical, or maybe more, with a new generation of cast members.
Because it's in our DNA. It's not possible for us to sit on our laurels.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, and it keeps growing.
There's no place like this on earth.
Disney was committed to being really a good neighbor.
What started with Walt continues with an army of volunteers. What a philosophy of philanthropy has meant to Central Florida. Next on Chronicle, 50 Years of Magic. Get ready to revel in more Disney nostalgia.
It's a throwback. It's like I was right here on October 1971.
A witness to history. We're diving into the memories and memorabilia still on hand from Disney's first day in business 50 years ago.
But it's really kind of cool to go back and see how it was back when it first came out.
And creating a community.
Disney was committed to being really a good neighbor. And in those early days, we were encouraged to volunteer.
How Central Florida has flourished thanks to Disney's dedication to life outside the park gates. WESH 2 Chronicle, 50 Years of Magic, continues right now.
Welcome back to Chronicle 50 Years of Magic. In Central Florida, it's nearly impossible to find someone who hasn't experienced something Disney. But it's also hard to find a service organization in our community or local charity that hasn't benefited in some way from this being the center of the Disney universe. Steeped deep in Disney culture is a sense of community, that special culture that starts along Main Street, USA, and radiates far and wide, and also giving back to the community it calls home.
It's our way of giving back to them.
Disney's spirit of generosity can be traced back to, you guessed it, the guy with his name on the gate. In the 1930s, Walt Disney started visiting children in the hospital, often with beloved characters in tow. Today, Disney gives back in a myriad of ways.
So in our Castle of Miracles, every child, they write their name on a gold star. In the middle of the night, the star fairy swoops down and gathers up all the stars and puts them on the ceiling of the castle.
This is Give Kids the World, 89 whimsical acres of joy and encouragement here in Central Florida, where families with seriously ill children see wishes come true free of charge. For more than 30 years, 176,000 children and their families have known happiness because of this place.
We celebrate Halloween every Monday so they can go trick-or-treating. We celebrate Christmas every Thursday. Santa's here. We make it snow on the avenue. Give out toys.
And maybe the biggest wish come true is when the kids get to go to Walt Disney World. That partnership with Give Kids the World in itself is a dream come true, from the financial to the experiential. When the kids visiting want to go to Disney, the park gets them right in and right to the front of every line for free.
And there's so many incredible stories how cast members have gone above and beyond. And there's one that just sticks with me. It's a little girl named Cadence. Well, she'd gone to Disney the first day and she discovered churros. Well, that became the love of her life. And so her dream then was she wanted to eat churros and wave to Minnie Mouse at the 3 o'clock parade. So sounds like a small order, right? But we've all been to the 3 o'clock parade. Now this is pre-pandemic. So they were in the sea of people and she was eating a churro, and a cast member spotted her Give Kids the World button and ushered them to the front. And there she was sitting, eating her little churro, and Minnie Mouse comes by and she gets to wave at Minnie Mouse. And 4 hours later, she's gone. The next day, the family woke up and all they wanted to do was to go back and find that cast member and thank him for making her wish come true. But if that cast member hadn't spotted that button, then it'd have been just as easy for him in all those throngs of people, right? Just to go, nothing, just do nothing, just keep the crowd under control. But he didn't. He spotted Cadence and made that happen for her, and it changed their lives.
$0.5 million. Cast members create more than incredible experiences at the parks, and they do it in the community too, through the Volunteers Program. Since 1983, this program has given hundreds of local charities critical man-hours and resources. Disney employees have given countless hours to causes like feeding the hungry with the Second Harvest Food Bank of Central Florida and building backpacks for back to school with a gift for teaching. The catalog of organizations helped is too long to list.
I have a whole bunch of these.
In 1964, Gene Columbus was a stand-in actor in the Disney movie The Misadventures of Merlin Jones. And one morning, while getting coffee, he had a chance encounter that changed his life.
I got my coffee and I put it aside and I was putting stuff in it. And the guy that got in line behind me, I turned around and looked at him. He put his cup down and says, "Hello, I'm Walt Disney." And then he started asking me questions. Where I was from, to this day, I have no recollection of what I said to him. But I called him Mr. Disney, and he said, call me Walt.
Gene decided that day to hitch his wagon to Walt Disney's star, rising to top man in charge of huge productions for Disney.
It's always been about a team and being a part of a group.
Hiring thousands of cast members as manager of entertainment staffing. Gene was also a decision maker in Walt Disney World's charity and philanthropy, deciding who gets what and how much.
And I've been in those meetings where we had to talk about where these dollars needed to go. And I would be the first to say, yeah, it would be nice for us to get the arts. But if they're feeding people, clothing them, giving them a place to sleep, that's a much higher priority. But once they're there, we would like just a little bit of time to go in and feed their spirits. God made some of us strong to help those that are not. And that's what we have to continuously remind ourselves. Our little effort can have a big result. A little giving from us to somebody that has nothing could be huge.
It's a philosophy straight from Walt Disney himself.
We hoped that we could build something that would command the respect of the community.
A truly gifted man who was always seeking out guests and cast members and all kinds of regular people, genuinely and intensely focused on what they had to say.
And that's been the backbone of our whole business, catering to the family.
Did Walt Disney ever talk about why he sought out people and so much and wanted to know what they thought?
Sure, Walt was very aware of the fact that he needed to listen. He was a very good listener, perhaps better than any other trait. Walt was someone who really listened to the public. He listened to the people that were coming to Disneyland. He listened to the people that were seeing his films in theaters. Taking that feedback allowed him to plus his park, right? That understanding of you can always do something better. There's always more that can be built. So I think it's natural that people look to Walt as an inspirational source. And probably today why we still do the same.
It's a piece of how Disney integrated with Central Florida life.
We are taking you back to the first days of Disney World in Central Florida. Wait till you check out these pieces of history helping to mark the theme park's golden anniversary. It's next on WESH 2 Chronicle 50 Years of Magic. Did you know Disney designed a character just for Central Florida? Meet the Orange Bird. As part of a sponsorship deal, Imagineers designed Orange Bird for the Florida Citrus Commission. In exchange, the group sponsored the Enchanted Tiki Room and Sunshine Tree Terrace in Adventureland. The feathered mascot called Magic Kingdom home from 1971 through 1986. Then, in 2004, Orange Bird re-emerged at Tokyo Disneyland. Finally, in 2012, Orange Bird returned to the Sunshine State as part of the restored Sunshine Tree Terrace.
From the pins to the ears, Disney collectibles have always been a big deal. But when it comes to the golden anniversary, more rare artifacts are getting their moment in the spotlight. Tiny trinkets to sentimental costumes, even million-dollar props. Marlene Martinez got to see them up close and found the stories behind each are even more valuable.
When Disney World debuted on October 25th, 1971, in the middle of the Sunshine State, 15-year-old Terry Lindsay was in the center of it all.
On opening day in October 1971, I was part of the 1,076-piece band that marched up Main Street. All you can see is the castle. And again, everyone around you is taking pictures and is happy and enjoying the day. And that was magical.
As a Central Florida native, Terry was one of the lucky high school musicians that Disney recruited for the grand opening. He played trumpet for Lakeland Senior High School.
It fits everybody.
A golden opportunity for this brass player.
Now to go back, you realize how many people would never have had a chance like that.
Terry is now helping bring these history books to life. by preserving his uniform that was documented in the original opening celebration script.
That they would actually just staple how far the spread is. So that if you
His donation going to the Orange County Regional History Center. As Orlando's hometown museum, it's compiling a Disney World collection, and Terry's band vest and hat are now the crown jewels.
This is the best artifact we have.
Collections manager Whitney Broadaway excitedly showed me the History Center's treasure chest of Disney artifacts.
We have the master event script, procedures and itinerary, and a first-year park map.
But one of Whitney's favorites.
It's a piece of how Disney integrated with Central Florida life.
It wasn't just marching bands Disney scouted in Central Florida. Check this out. This recruitment flyer Disney posted in local high schools in the early 70s. The excitement in those early days was palpable.
Central Florida and Disney were literally basking in the national spotlight.
Lines stretched from I-4 to Main Street because Disney was coming to town.
As you can see on this map, we have a perfect location in Florida.
It talks to, the fervor that Disney coming to town was kind of injecting into the lifestyle here in the 70s and late 60s.
Disney memorabilia isn't just for museums. Owning a piece of Disney history is the dream of countless Disney fanatics.
This is it. This is the Disney collection.
But none rival Joel McGee.
I have the largest Disney World and Disneyland prop collection in the entire world. Oh my gosh.
And he gave me a private tour.
This is probably the most iconic piece that I think will ever be as far as Disney is concerned.
And they were there on opening day.
These were there on opening day. And
this. One of only 4 original hitchhiking ghost displays. From the Haunted Mansion ride.
You would see these ghosts in the mirror, and it would seem like they were right next to you. Of course, if you looked, they weren't there. It was all done with, quote, smoke and mirrors. But these were the actual units that were behind those mirrors.
Ditched for digital versions, Joel brought these back to life. These hitchhiking ghosts are one of Joel's prized possessions, valued at more than $1 million.
Beware of hitchhiking ghosts.
So speaking of the Haunted Mansion, this is the intrusion status panel.
Oh my goodness.
Joel also has the ride's original control panel.
You can hear every piece of the Haunted Mansion ride as you push a button. We're in the corridor of doors. Now we're in the attic.
He has a knack for restoring Disney's old haunts, including this classic.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
This is a cockpit chair from one of the original monorails on opening day. Talk about a blast of the past.
And I remember because I rode this in about 1980, and it was really cool to ride in front with the driver.
From a hallway lined with vintage costumes to a personal museum decked out with posters and props, this is only a third of Joel's entire collection.
Why do you even want to do this?
You know, I never got to go to Disneyland or Disney World when I was a kid. I had a great childhood though, but when I went after high school, I fell in love with it. It was just enchanting. And you know, to ride the Skyway at the time, and of course they have them back as Skyliners, so that's really exciting. But you know, it's going back to that time. We all like to go back and revisit the happiest times of our life. And with Disney World, we can do it again and again because it's still there. So, you know, it's something that everybody can share.
And share is exactly what Joel plans to do. His collection is hitting the road for a cross-country tour. And at the end of that trip, a grand finale, a giant auction.
It's gonna go to a new home and everybody says, oh my gosh, are you gonna miss it? Of course.
When these Disney relics roll out, Joel says it'll be bittersweet. But no matter where the artifacts end up, all roads lead back to the memories. And that's what collectors like Joel and Terry hold on to as Disney celebrates this golden milestone.
Whenever you do go back to the park, do you always recall that first day whenever you go to Magic Kingdom?
The circle, you know, where Disney is holding Mickey's hand and that kind of thing in the circle. So yeah, when I go back, I know exactly where I stood. It's a throwback. It's like I was right here on, October 1971. You know, now and to think it's 50 years old is makes me feel a lot older. But again, wouldn't trade it for the world.
Unforgettable is what Disney World is all about.
Over that 50 years in national politics, in music, in sports, some really kind of pivotal moments have taken place right within the borders of this world.
They're the top pop culture moments to play out at Disney, and we have them for you next. Check out this magical moment in Disney history. In 2016, Disney's Wide World of Sports played host to the second ever Invictus Games. The games bring together wounded service members from across the globe, united by sports. Invictus is the passion project of Prince Harry, who came to Orlando that May to preside over the games. Hundreds of wounded warriors representing 14 countries competed that year. This wasn't royalty's first trip to our magical kingdom. More on that is coming right up.
Disney has choreographed so many incredible moments in entertainment, but occasionally Walt Disney World becomes the backdrop for some real-life headlines. Sonika Dange takes us through the top moments in pop culture history that have unfolded right here.
You know, there's so many exciting things that have happened to Walt Disney World over the years. It's kind of hard to pick one.
So we've picked the top 5. Disney World's first footnote in history comes less than 2 years after it opened. We're taking you back to November 17th, 1973, and the Contemporary.
When President Richard Nixon was there, it was shortly after Watergate, and he was giving a speech to the press at the Contemporary Resort, one of the ballrooms. And there was a Q&A section afterwards, and he blurted out,
"Well, I'm not a crook."
And that became, you know, huge in American lexicon and a very big pop culture moment.
Even people who weren't born, who know nothing about Richard Nixon, probably know I am not a crook. I don't think most people, however, realize that was uttered on the grounds of Walt Disney World.
People have got to know.
A year later, Disney World was the backdrop for headlines again. And a breakup that rocked rock and roll in December of 1974. We're talking about the end of the Beatles.
The writing was already on the wall by the late 1960s.
Bob Thompson is a pop culture expert and professor at Syracuse University. He says the breakup of the Beatles unraveled over a number of years. But by December of '74, Paul, George, and Ringo had all signed the paperwork dissolving the partnership.
And they only need one more signature, John Lennon. Where does he happen to be when the documentations arrive? The Polynesian Resort in none other than Disney World. So while Disney World didn't cause the breakup of the Beatles, the official last chapter in the breakup of the Beatles actually happened within sight of the Magic Kingdom.
Celebrations, not breakups, are much more Disney style. So let's get the party started with our next top moment from 1987.
I'm gonna go to Disney World!
5 words that have now been uttered by everyone from Miss America to reality TV stars. But it all began in earnest with Super Bowl 21 MVP quarterback Phil Simms after the New York Giants beat the Buffalo Bills.
The story goes he was paid, some reports say 50 grand, others say 75,000.
When I heard him say that, I thought that was so cool. You know, Disney World, it means a lot to not only me, but your kids and the whole world.
That very next year, ahead of Super Bowl 22 in 1988, Doug Williams, quarterback for Washington, D.C.'s team, was approached.
The night before, one of the ladies who worked for Disney at the time came to me and said, "Hey, you know, if you win, you know, we want you to say this." After the game, you know, I'm walking off the game, people was around me, and I had my helmet up in the air. The only thing I was worried about was the fact that we was the world champion. Nothing else mattered. And I felt something hit me on my leg, and she was a short lady, and she said, hey, Disney World, Disney World. And I looked down there, and I just turned around and said, hey, I'm going to Disney World.
In 2020, Disney stepped back into the sports arena.
The NBA is suspending the rest of the season,
helping to give the NBA a bubble to play their season amid the COVID pandemic.
Had we known what we were asked to do at the time, I am not so sure we would have said we could do it, because there was so much unknown. We didn't even know at that time, or no one did, how the virus was even transmitted.
From July through October, 22 NBA teams, players, coaches, and staff lived, worked, and played at Disney World's wide world of sports, completing the 2019-2020 regular season, the NBA playoffs, and the championship game.
And that's it, it's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship.
The season concluded with 0 cases of COVID-19 in the bubble. Farron Kelly is the vice president of Disney Sports.
There was a documentary on about the day sports stopped. And I watched it, and it had footage from the bubble and what we did here. And at that moment, it hit me that we had really were a part of history.
Disney's next defining pop culture moment has to do with a princess. Not the one from this castle, but a real-life princess. Possibly the most famous woman in the world at the time.
In 1993, Princess Diana brought her 2 boys for their first visit to the United States. And of course, they went to Walt Disney World as a family, the 3 of them.
Prince William was 11 and Harry was only 8. The international paparazzi at the time anxious to get a picture of the royals who were at the park less than a year after Princess Diana and Prince Charles announced their separation.
Other papers are speculating.
The buzz around their visit dominated the local news too back then.
She was 4 seats ahead of me. Yeah, it was really quite a thrill.
It made a big impact on Walt Disney World because people all over the world said, hey, you know, if Princess Diana and the boys can have such a good time, you know, I'd love to go there too.
Of all the famous visits to Disney and moments that have unfolded along Main Street, there seems to be one that people remember best. Their own.
Millions of really important events have happened over the past 50 years at Disney World, but they weren't events that got reported. They were events that you'd have to look into people's photo albums. You'd have to talk to people about their memories. Big story that happens at Disney World every day are not the stories that get reported. For some people, that trip to Disney World could be the biggest and sometimes happiest memory of their entire life.
That is what 50 years of magic is all about.
Disney is making sure anyone who wants to experience the 50th anniversary celebration can, with festivities running through the spring of 2023. For the latest on what the celebrations might entail when you are here, head to wesh.com. For the entire Chronicle team, thanks for watching and have a magical night.